The West Asia war is now in its 33rd day. From the skies over Tehran to the waters of the Persian Gulf, from Israeli cities to strategic targets across the region, the battlefield is only expanding, intensifying, growing more complex by the day. In fact, the battlefield is expanding as well. Iran has unleashed what it calls the 89th wave of its operation, a fresh barrage of missiles and drones targeting U.S. positions in Bahrain as well as Kuwait. The war has hit Iran at its home as well. Tehran was rocked by a fresh wave of explosions, loud blasts echoing across the city, thick smoke rising from multiple parts. U.S. and Israeli airstrikes have returned, striking targets in eastern as well as southern Tehran. Several Iranians, meanwhile, gathered on the streets of Iran to mourn the slain Revolutionary Guards commanders, including the slain Navy commander Tangsiri, who reportedly played a significant part in Iran's closure of the Strait of Hormuz, remember, was killed by Israel. The Iranian president and foreign minister also joined the pro-government rallies in Tehran, greeting supporters as crowds gathered and waved Iranian flags.
و این مردم قدرشناس بر سر رئیس جمهور گل می‌ریزند.
This is now a war where no capital is out of reach in a way. In Iran's Zanjan, the anger has been building up on the streets. Hundreds of protesters have taken to the streets after strikes damaged a key religious site. Meanwhile, in Iraq, a drone strike igniting a massive fire in the Kurdistan region. Erbil, which is home to a major U.S. consulate and military presence, continues to be a repeated target there. Lebanon also has seen escalation with strikes near Beirut's main airport road after Israel warned it would target Hezbollah facilities. And on the diplomatic front, signals have been rather mixed and the tensions remain high. The U.S. president claiming that Iran has indicated a willingness for a ceasefire, but Washington also has a key condition for that: the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. However, Iran's Revolutionary Guards have rejected Trump's narrative strongly. They say the strait is firmly under their control and will not be reopened under what they call ridiculous displays by the United States. Now, this back and forth also capturing the current diplomatic deadlock, with Trump slated to make that crucial announcement as a part of his address to the nation. The costs of continuing this war are also mounting at the same time. And that also brings us to how the humanitarian toll and the numbers are also staggering. In Iran, over 3,400 people, 3,400 people have been killed. Nearly 25,000 injured. Lebanon has lost more than 1,200 lives. In Israel, dozens have been killed, but thousands injured in repeated strikes. Across Iraq, Kuwait, the UAE, Qatar, Syria, Oman, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, the casualties continue to rise. Those numbers on your screen. In fact, even the U.S. forces have suffered losses. Meanwhile, Israel is claiming that it will be able to destroy Iran's military production industry in the coming days. However, this is happening while the Israeli Prime Minister is facing the heat from the opposition, as missiles and drones are increasingly piercing through Israel's defenses. So Israel's problems compounded as Iran-backed Houthis say that it launched a salvo of ballistic missiles against sensitive targets in southern Israel, in coordination with Iran and Hezbollah. Earlier, 4 IDF soldiers were killed in a clash with Hezbollah in southern Lebanon. Iran has also attacked several parts of central Israel. And in this backdrop, the leader of opposition accusing Netanyahu of virtual defeat over his failure to win the West Asia war. In fact, he mocked the Israeli Prime Minister's inability to achieve regime change in Iran and urged the people to acknowledge that Netanyahu cannot achieve any strategic goal. Lapid also raked up the IDF's admission that it is short of thousands of soldiers. He also cried foul over the allocation of $255 million to ultra-Orthodox programs and institutions at a time when Haredi men are exempt from conscription. Listen to this.
Netanyahu delivered for the 1,000th time the arrogant speech that says, "I changed the Middle East." There was one word missing from that speech, almost. You almost changed the Middle East. In the end, it always turns out that it hasn't changed.
On the other hand, Netanyahu signaling his intent to continue the war. Even as Tehran's retaliatory attacks continue, he claimed that the Iranian government is weaker than ever before. So far, the IDF has claimed to have conducted 10,000 strikes on 4,000 targets in Iran.
We will continue to crush the terror regime, fortify the security belts around us, and achieve our goals.
The ground reality is stark, though. During a cabinet meeting last week itself, remember, the IDF chief reportedly raised 10 red flags in front of Netanyahu and warned that the IDF will collapse. As per Channel 13, he stated that the IDF will not be ready for its routine missions in the near future, and its reserve system will not last. Israeli military spokesperson, meanwhile, revealing that the IDF is short of 15,000 soldiers, including 7,000 to 8,000 combat soldiers. He said more forces are required in West Bank, Lebanon, Gaza, as well as Syria. This sun could derail NASA's biggest return to the moon in over 5 decades. Just hours before liftoff, a powerful solar flare has triggered radio blackouts, and now scientists are watching the skies, worried about what comes next. With astronauts strapped in, the countdown is underway. The threat is no longer just technical, it's cosmic. Take a look.
The wait is over. We are going back to the moon. After more than 50 years, NASA is embarking on an ambitious moon mission. 4 astronauts riding on the most powerful rocket NASA has ever launched. Artemis II crew will carry the astronauts farther from Earth than any human since Apollo 17 in 1972. During the 10-day flyby around the moon, scientists hope to unlock lunar mysteries.
The question I'm most interested in is, are they going to be able to see color on the lunar surface? The very last mission to the moon, the most recent mission to the moon, I should say, Apollo 17, crew members described subtle colors on the lunar surface. We've asked the Artemis II crew to tell us what they see. They may see different parts of the moon than was seen by previous Apollo missions.
The mission, first of its kind in more than 50 years, will see the first person of color, the first woman, and the first non-American embark on a journey to the moon. NASA forecast suggests the weather will be 80% favorable for launch within the 2-hour window. But there is one different threat which could cast an ominous shadow. A powerful solar flare has already erupted this week, unleashing bursts of radiation and high-energy particles that can disrupt communications, damage satellites, and most critically, can put astronauts at risk. And this may just be the beginning. The flare originated from a growing cluster of sunspots, now rotating into direct view of Earth, raising the risk of more eruptions in the coming hours. NASA says there is a 55% chance of further low-level flares in the next 48 hours and a 10% chance of a full-blown X-class flare, the most powerful category capable of triggering long-lasting radiation storms. That's why scientists are closely monitoring the sun, tracking every twist and turn of this unpredictable threat. And here's the real concern. Even if the rocket launches successfully, the danger doesn't end. In space, there is no atmosphere to shield human life. If a solar storm strikes during the mission, the crew will have to take cover inside a specially designated radiation shelter within the Orion capsule, a critical safety drill built into the mission itself. The countdown is underway. For now, all eyes are on the clock and on the sun. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
And speaking of that huge moment for human spaceflight, for NASA and for space fans around the world, taking you live to the Kennedy Space Center in Florida, where you can see Artemis II is all geared up and ready for the launch. In fact, NASA has given the final go-ahead for the launch of the mission following a series of technical reviews and also weather assessments that were conducted. And this mission is officially on track now for a historic liftoff. This is going to be taking place in roughly 6 hours from now. Those latest images coming to you. We're just 6 hours away from that historic mission taking off. The mission rocket all geared up and ready. This is the latest from the Kennedy Space Center. So this is a huge milestone, that historic mission that is going to be setting that crucial benchmark, coming in after 53 years. That rocket is now being loaded with fuel, is the latest that we are getting in at this point. And this, of course, is a milestone that has been highly anticipated after NASA has now given the final go-ahead for this historic lunar journey. The latest minute-by-minute updates coming in from NASA, that historic lunar journey that is going to be taking off. Remember, we just told you about the preparations that have been underway, about how this mission, of course, comes at a crucial point with, of course, not just a huge milestone for the space agency there, but for all those who are going to be watching this unfold minute by minute. It's a historical journey, to say the least. Generations, of course, have been looking at this moment coming up. That's been reported widely about the preparations, about how this is going to be, if successful, a major mission, a major milestone